Hi, I'm Tyler with the Craft Beer Connoisseurs, and before this episode begins, I just wanted to provide you with a little information on who we are and how you can stay updated on all of our content. This podcast is created to showcase craft breweries and indulge in interesting conversations. We want to help promote a variety of breweries and along the way have conversations ranging from sports to beer and beer to just about anything. Please feel free to follow us on Instagram at Craft Beer Cons, send a friend request on Untappd, or subscribe on YouTube at Craft Beer Connoisseurs. Also, drop a comment, like, and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. Now stay tuned for today's episode. Welcome to the Craft Beer Connoisseurs. I'm Tyler.
I'm Brett.
And I'm Chris. And along with us today is our producer, Jerry.
Yeah, in today's episode, we'll be reviewing Imperial City Brewhouse from Sarnia, Ontario.
And we'll be highlighting two of their beers today. The first one is called Goodbye Gravity, which is a cream ale. And their second one is Milkshake IPA.
Another milkshake.
I was going to say,
Another
I'm
one,
really
yeah.
excited for the Milkshake IPA.
For sure.
And of course, to round out the episode, we will talk a little bit more about who we are, how we started, and what the future of the Craft Beer Connoisseurs podcast looks like.
All right, we'll be right back. Imperial City Brewhouse is located in the border city of Sarnia, and it started off as a backyard passion project with four guys, Matt, Mike, Craig, and Kyle.
So kind of like us, starting
Yeah.
as a group of four guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
Almost, it's amazing how that went through. So the brewhouse is located at 1330 Exmouth Street. The team adopted Sarnia's nickname of the Imperial City, which is a nod to Sarnia's regal history.
Nice.
Yeah, and that regal history dates back all the way to 1914, over 100 years ago, when City Council made a declaration proclaiming the city of Sarnia be entitled the Imperial City. So
It
makes
all
sense.
comes together.
It all makes sense. There's a reason
Absolutely.
for everything. So the reason that they made that declaration was because of a royal visit by His Royal Highness the Duke of Connaught and his daughter, Princess Patricia.
Beautiful.
Interesting,
It's a nice
eh?
little history lesson here.
Yeah.
I'm glad grade 10 history just kind of like reverberating in my mind right now.
There you go.
So, you guys, I did not have the capability of going to the tour that you guys did.
Right. No.
But you guys were all able to go to the actual brew house back at the beginning of October, I'm pretty sure it was,
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, it was around that time. Why couldn't you make it?
I had a previous commitment.
With your wife.
I'm not going to say that.
There it is.
Could be.
Could be.
Could not be.
I have
Yeah,
not
who knows?
mentioned this person's name at all yet.
Yes, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, and producer Jerry also went with Tyler and I to Imperial City. Sorry,
Yeah, and it was a fun experience. We went, we showed up.
it was awesome, to be honest.
Right, we met up with Craig, so he's the one that kind of did the tour there.
Yeah.
It is a beautiful brewery.
Yes, I remember seeing the pictures when you guys went, and it was just like, A, very disappointed I missed out,
Yeah.
but happens.
Yep.
But B, the size of it, the spaciousness of
Right.
what they have going on there is
It's really big. So Craig said it used to be a grocery store. So I think a Price Chopper or something like that. But just think about the size of a grocery store and putting a brewery in there. You can imagine how big that was.
Right, yeah, they did a good job with kind of how it's all laid out as well. So you have this beautiful open space right when you come in. A nice little patio that they've got going on outside as well. We know it's a little bit colder outside now, but it looked like it was bumping. Like there was a lot of people.
It
out
was.
There, yeah.
There were a lot of people coming in the whole time we were there. We were there for a couple hours, and it was packed the whole time.
Right.
So they're doing really well there.
Yeah, for sure. So they have the bar right inside on the right hand side of the brewery, and then all the tanks lined up on the left. But it's great space. It's nice because it's new.
Yes.
Right? Like it's not one of these garage kind of outfits, which you see a lot with craft breweries. This is a brand new kind of like renovation job, which they've done.
And they had a lot of or a couple of old school video games available,
Yeah,
so
right.
you could just kind of play that at the side.
Do they have golden tea?
I think they might have had Golden Tea.
might have.
That's my most favorite game of all
They
time.
definitely had Donkey Kong and Pac-Man though.
If they have Pac-Man, that suffices for me.
Yeah, I guess so. So a little bit about the four guys. So these are four guys who came together as friends. They're shift workers, and they came together out of their passion of making and obviously consuming beer.
Yeah,
which
and
I can get behind that.
And I understand they're all co-workers, and so basically they would have keg parties,
Right.
and they would have their home brews
Whatever their home brew was.
as the beers that they would have at the keg parties. So that would be awesome. And then they're just like, why don't we do this as a business? Right.
And lo and behold, here we are.
And here we are
Imperial
trying their
City.
beers.
It's amazing
right?
the times have changed. They started with a keg party. We started this podcast over a Zoom call.
Times
Times
changed,
have definitely
right?
changed.
definitely changed a little bit, but they've put a lot of time and effort actually into the brewery. So we're looking at, well, what does everybody see first, right? You look at the logo.
Yeah.
Right? So we've got some apparel on today that we got while we were at the brewery.
Yep.
They got a friend of theirs. They contracted out to do the logo design, and it is a very beautiful, simple, clean logo, but it speaks volumes. So when you're looking volumes of beer, when you're looking at the actual logo, there's an added touch that they've put in there. So the drop of beer is actually in the shape of a crown. So that pays homage to, again,
Imperial
the
City.
Imperial City.
Yeah,
So
that history. Yeah.
they've really wrapped it in together.
And then they have the kind of the skyline of Sarnia, which is a very industrial type city. So you can tell by looking at the logo, and the font that they use is really cool too.
Absolutely. And you're actually, Chris, you're wearing kind of like a Blue Jays inspired kind of style one.
That's right.
Looks very nice. I know you, for the listeners out there, cannot see it. But I think there might be a picture.
We could take a
We could
picture
do
and put it
something
on
for
Instagram.
our
But on
listeners,
Instagram for sure. So Imperial City actually opened February 9th, 2020. So they had 18 shifts prior to being told, you got to close down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a rough go, right? And that's kind of what we talked about with Craig, is he's saying they worked so long to get to that point, and then to just shut down right away, it's so disappointing, right?
I have a feeling like they almost thought they couldn't make it, right? Like it was just like, okay, they put time, effort, and money
Right.
into
Yeah.
it, right?
A lot of money, yep.
And then all of a sudden, a month in, it's like, no, you're being told you can't do the one thing
Right.
that you want to do.
They were
right?
a really determined group, and luckily
Yeah.
everybody supported local, right? So they didn't think they'd be able to make it through this time, but local community came together, rallied together, and started purchasing some beers, which, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah,
right?
because like a lot of breweries and a lot of businesses in general, they had to pivot to takeout. So people still wanted to get their beers, so they would buy cans, and yeah, it was awesome.
Right. Yep. So they do have a 20-barrel system there. So we're talking like it's a large size operation.
Mm-hmm.
They started with 4 kind of core beers. So a CPA, so Canadian Pale Ale, a stout, a light lager, and a pilsner. So they've started with those 4.
Those basic ones to kind of just see how everything's going to go.
Yeah.
And then they've probably obviously branched out since then. But and one other thing too is I was noted that they had trouble getting cans.
Yeah,
I know there was aluminum shortage. I know that been around that time.
well, so the way Craig was kind of explaining it to us is they don't have their own canning line, so they have portable canning, and everyone was trying to can at that time,
absolutely.
right? So the person or the company that they used to do canning was all booked up, so they had to get a company out of Quebec to come down and do the canning for them. So luckily they were able to do that. I think he said at one point they were down to just having the pale ale in cans or something like that. So they really needed that group out of Quebec to come through.
Yeah, and if I could just take a little bit of time here to shout out Mike, who works there. Mike is a Type A personality.
We didn't meet Mike,
We
but
did
we've
not
been
meet.
told.
We
yeah.
did not meet Mike, but we did meet Mike's wife, and
Yes.
so Mike, Type A personality. I applaud that. He's really focused on the details, and I think that's the kind of person you need to have that kind of steers the ship a little bit, coming up with direction and ideas. And when we get into talking a bit about who we are as craft beer connoisseurs, I think, Mike, you might be able to see some similarities in myself and you. So that's
You're telling me that you're a Type A personality.
very Type A personality.
Amazing.
Yeah, right. Shocker.
You would never
Yeah.
know.
Shocker.
It's like that TikTok. I am so shocked. I did not believe it.
Yeah, I'm over 30. I don't subscribe
use
to TikTok.
Yeah, sorry
But
about that.
yeah, and actually Mike's wife, she was the one that kind of came out with the idea for us to try the cherry wheat and the stout mixed together.
Yeah. So one thing that they talked about is mixing some of their beers. So they have a coffee blonde ale and a cream ale that they like to mix together. And then even Craig hadn't tried the cherry wheat and stout mix, but it was amazing. And Jerry loved it, our producer. And it basically tasted like Black Forest cake.
Yeah, it was spot on. You'd almost say, Fife, what's your tagline? That beer.
Slaps.
Hey!
It slaps.
There it is.
It did slap. It was a good beer.
It's tough to remember my taglines.
Yeah,
It's tough.
Yeah, it's true. But they do cater to Sarnia in their area and their needs. They're always open to collaborations with other breweries to kind of figure out what's the best way to service the community. So they are very community focused.
Yeah.
Which is nice to see.
And speaking of community, we talked about the Untapped community. They have a little bit of a tie-in to Untapped at the brewery. So they have all their menus on TVs. And if you check in your beers on Untapped, then it shows up at the bottom of their menu who or checked into them and what beer you're
You can be famous on TV at the brewery.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's your 15 minutes of fame.
15 minutes of fame, right?
Yeah, although you didn't get to stay up for 15 minutes because we were constantly untapping.
Right.
So
I mean, if you were the only one there on tapping, you
Exactly.
could be up there for a while.
But we will link, speaking of Untapped being social media, we're going to link all their information on our social media platforms.
Yeah, and so Imperial City is a brewery who wants to entrench themselves into the community. So we like to see that. They support the community and the community is supporting them. So it's nice to have that kind of reciprocating relationship.
Absolutely.
So let's see what their beer tastes like coming up next.
All right, so first we'd like to thank Craig and everyone else over at Imperial City for supplying the beers on today's episode. So thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate that.
The first beer we're going to open today is called Goodbye Gravity, which is a cream ale with a 5.0 ABV and 18 IBUs.
All right, yeah. So Goodbye Gravity is a nod to Commander Chris Hadfield, who was born in Sarnia.
Yeah, and we'll see when we talk about the can.
And I didn't know that.
nod.
That could be me. I can do the can.
Yeah, you can do the
You
can.
got the can. Yeah, I did not know that. So it was kind of
That
good
he was born in
information.
Sarnia?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Isn't it called the
yeah.
Chris Hadfield Airport?
I believe it is, yes.
Yep, but it doesn't mean he was born there. He could have had some kind of other significance. Anywho, so this brew is a cream ale that features real Madagascar vanilla, which allows it to have a smooth finish. So that'd be interesting.
Nice.
Now, this is going to be a tongue twister for me, but we're going to try and do this. So they have Hallertau Middle Fure hops at the end of the boil, which provide a light bitterness and a sweet, earthy aroma.
Very good job, Brad.
Thank you.
That's very
Appreciate
nice. So, of course, like always on Untapped, you can follow us at Craft Beer Connoisseurs. And the overall rating for Goodbye Gravity is 3.84 bottle caps out of 5 with a total of 272 check-ins. And so we'll see that as the brewery grows, because like we mentioned, it's opened in early 2020, the
Right.
beer check-ins will as well.
Yeah,
That's a
absolutely.
very high rating. Excited to crack this one.
Yeah, me
for
too.
272 check-ins. So I think we're at that point now. Let's open her up.
So, of course, we like to let everyone know to remember to drink out of the proper glassware. So we're just drinking this cream ale out of a pint glass, and we actually do have a Imperial City branded glass that producer Jerry's drinking out of. So you'll see that on our Instagram.
Lucky Jerry.
Yeah, I know.
Jerry gets all the perks.
Right?
It's a nice pour.
Except for his voice to be heard.
And that's a perk for everybody.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right. So taking a look at it,
Nice and clean.
Oh,
For
yeah,
sure. To
definitely
start.
clean.
very clean.
Good carbonation in it, looks like.
Ooh, you can even smell that vanilla. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah, and that's the vanilla. Like, you know, when Coke came out with their Coca-Cola vanilla?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, it was very, very vanilla forward. That's this,
Yeah.
right?
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I think it's going to be pretty...
Are you a fan of vanilla?
I am a big fan, actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love vanilla.
I could go with it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
we'll see
vanilla
how it
ice
goes.
cream
We'll
isn't your
see.
thing, is what you're saying?
No, you know what? Like an original, like vanilla bean ice cream? No, thanks. No.
Oh, okay.
Okay, yeah, vanilla bean.
No, I like the
Yeah.
vanilla bean ice cream with like the little flecks of the black vanilla, you know?
Like the bean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In it, yeah.
There you go.
Anyways,
Anyways,
back to beer.
Back to the beer here.
Oh, almost like it's the vanilla bean.
We are not the ice cream connoisseurs,
No,
okay?
we're not. We're not. But yeah, definitely looks pretty clean, like you mentioned. Maybe filtered, maybe.
Yeah,
no sediment in it.
No sediment.
No.
Or pulp.
No.
None of that
No
coming
pulp?
through.
That's probably the best.
No pulp, no sediment coming through, which is fine.
Yeah.
But yeah. No, I think we're probably good to take a sip.
Oh, thank God.
You want it? All right, get into it.
Yeah, I will.
All right.
Oh. Yeah, that's nice. That is
That is nice. That is nice.
that is lovely.
Yeah. very vanilla forward.
Good job, Chris Hadfield.
You did well.
I'm not sure he brewed the beer, but
I'm sure he
we'll
didn't,
give
but-
him some credit for sure.
Absolutely. Oh, that's lovely.
Yeah, that is definitely quite a
Vanilla
bit of
coming
vanilla.
through strong.
Yeah,
Which I like to see.
I do like that.
Yeah, I'm getting a lot of the vanilla, the creaminess portion of it. I don't know if it comes across as creamy or is it the vanilla that makes it.
I think it's the vanilla that's making it the cream kind of rise through.
I do kind
on
of
the
get like a
flavor
little
notes.
bit of a creamy feel in my mouth, though.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah,
I agree
so,
with that for
so
sure.
I think it.
But is that the
definitely
vanilla,
creamy.
right? Like I don't. It's tough for me to pick out between what the
Right.
cream is and what the vanilla is. I guess.
Yeah,
But maybe that's what.
Or
they're just
maybe
saying.
it's a vanilla cream.
Maybe that's what they're saying is the vanilla is the
Yeah.
cream portion.
Is the
right?
creamy
No.
portion,
Yeah,
yeah.
no.
yeah. And I'm seeing that producer Jerry is saying that the vanilla is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I would definitely agree with that. This is
This
really
has
nice.
got to be one of the best cream ales I've had. Like 100%.
One of the best, but not the best.
It's I'm not all the way through yet,
Okay.
but it is definitely growing. I mean, to the point where it's going to probably be
It's up
top
there.
notch
Yep.
for sure.
Yeah.
No, this is really good. And like we said, we got that smell of the vanilla when we were first poured it, and definitely doesn't disappoint.
So when we were at the brewery, Chris, myself, and the producer, we tried a lot of their beers.
yes,
I almost think that we tried all of their beers, except for
I had about 7.
The
I think,
Untapped
so.
was flowing that day. On your,
It
on
was
your end.
flowing.
It was
Untapped-
flowing.
Tasters.
Yep.
So yeah.
Untapped was flowing. But we didn't try this. Goodbye Gravity.
We did not.
And then we also did not try the Milkshake IPA that we're going to have later on.
Yeah,
so,
we purposely wanted to try them for the first time.
It's amazing how he correlated that.
for sure. Yeah, we thought that one through. We didn't just go in and say, yeah, we'll try them all. And they were trying to push for it too. They wanted to see us, our reactions up front. So we're going to be
Yeah.
posting our reaction for sure for the Milkshake one on our Instagram. So it's going to be exciting.
So that's like next when we do the milkshake one next.
Yes,
Not this one.
correct.
Okay, just making sure. I just want to know where you're going with that.
Yep.
Yeah. and the beers that we did try at the brewery were all really good. And they were saying that the cream ale and the milkshake IPA were their best tasting ones. So based
I'd
on,
be in agreement with that.
well, you
right
haven't you didn't try all of the other
Well,
ones.
the ones
but
that
yeah.
I got
Yeah.
from there, I've had in the can
Right,
since.
we did bring you back some.
Yes, you guys were lovely.
Yeah, unlike the producer when he went to Collingwood,
Collingwood,
didn't
yeah.
bring us back anything.
Yeah, you can't win them all. You can't win them all. So the top 5 flavor profiles on Untapped for this might not be so shocking, I suppose. 1, creamy. 2, sweet. 3, light. 4, soft. And 5, caramelly.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't get the caramel.
I don't get caramel
Yeah.
at
Yeah.
all. I don't think.
I am not.
Definitely the first 4, though,
The
right?
first four easy,
for
yeah,
sure,
100%.
for sure. And I wonder, Tyler, if you wanted to talk about the background story about how did we get Chris Hadfield on this can? How did they get him?
Yeah, so we can go into a little bit of that. So what they did is they called Commander Hadfield's reps and said, you know what, we know you have a rich history with Sarnia, so they wanted to kind of get him on board here.
Yeah.
So they actually organized a 15-minute phone call with Chris. And
Which is hard because he's really busy.
he is super busy these days, but they got a hold of him. 15 minutes is what he could kind of spare, if you will. But he was so happy to do it. He was happy to see that they were honoring him with a beer.
Yeah.
One day we hope to be in the same shoes. So we'll just drop that there. But yeah, so they had a wonderful conversation, went through what the beer was going to be like and what it was going to taste like. I believe they had him try some and we're going to send some out to him after the fact. So it's a good beer and it's nice to see that he's on board with it. So
Yeah, and it's interesting to note that they name their beers basically just whatever the beer is, right? So we're going to have the Milkshake IPA. They have their Pale Ale. It's just called Canadian Pale Ale, their Hazy IPA, etc.
Yep.
So this beer used to just be called Cream Ale.
Right.
But it's the first beer that they've actually given a name to. And they kind of explained to us when we were there that they want the beers to earn their name.
Yeah,
so
this one's earned it.
Yeah.
I think it
This one has
definitely
definitely
has.
earned it.
So Fife, do you want to talk about the can a little bit? What it looks like?
I could
Because
do
the design
that.
on this
The design on
is
this one.
beautiful.
Yeah, it's really
Absolutely.
nice.
So, you're going to see a little cartoon-esque of Chris Hadfield playing an old guitar. I don't know if... Guitar. I don't know why I even said it like that.
Yeah.
Guitar, if you will. Because he's actually a musician as well
Yeah.
on the side. So he's in his space outfit playing the guitar on top of the moon. And then there's kind of like a satellite dish, if you will. And then obviously with the naming of the Goodbye Gravity also on the can.
For sure. It is a really nice design.
Yeah.
They've got obviously their logo on it too. It ties together. Nice coloring.
And the name's kind of written cool because the end of both words, goodbye and gravity, kind of go up and to the right, like it's losing gravity, right? So
For sure.
pretty
So
cool.
yeah, let's tap into the Untapped community and see what their thoughts on this first. So Brett, I think you have the first one. Bud.
I do actually. So this person's name is Reese D R2 Drake, and again, any comment that we use on the podcast, we always give him a follow or a friend request, if you will. On August 29th, gave a shout out birthday message. Happy birthday, Commander Hadfield. Nice to see from Reese, and happy belated, obviously, to the Commander.
Yeah.
Reese
Right.
gave it a 4.75 out of 5.
Nice.
Oh, that's a high rating.
That is.
Out of this world, one would say.
I see what you did there.
Thank you. So on April 28th, Mike S., with the handle Riot, RYAT, reviewed the difference between draft and canned flavors. Seems a little lighter on the vanilla than I remember from the draft version. Still refreshing and smooth. Mike gave the beer a 3.5 out of 5.
Interesting. 'Cause
That
we're
is one
drinking
thing
it out of the can.
is I would
so.
have liked to have this on draft now.
Right.
Like, go back to the
compare,
brewery
yeah.
and kind of compare the two for sure.
Right.
I agree. So with that, I think I'm going to get us started with our ratings. So I'm going to give this beer a 4.25 out of 5.
Yeah, and I think I'm going to be sitting around a 4.
I think I would be 4.25. The vanilla is nice. And then producer Jerry is coming in with his rating of a 4.75.
Wow.
I feel as though that's the highest rating we've had on the podcast.
That's the
for any
highest we've
beer.
ever given.
I think so.
Yeah.
Wow.
Jerry loves the vanilla.
Wow. So overall, that's going to give us a 4.3125, which we are going to round down for our Untapped to a 4.25.
That sounds perfect.
Yep.
Beer number 2 is going to come on deck next.
The second beer we're going to try today is the Milkshake IPA, and it has an ABV of 6.0 and 36 IBUs. So they say, Imperial City says that select hops are added to the final stage of the brew to give it a subtle hop flavor.
All right.
And it's complemented by tropical flavors of mango, coconut, and vanilla.
Nice.
Excited.
Yeah,
Excited
I
for
love
sure.
mango.
Definitely excited.
I love mango. So it is detailed as a full-bodied, hazy style taste of juicy tropical ice cream shake.
Ooh. Sounds good.
Topped off with lactose sugar for a sweet, smooth finish of an ice cream shake.
Nice.
So the Milkshake IPA has an overall rating of 4.05 bottle caps out of 5 and only 218 check-ins. Again, not a lot of check-ins, but look at that rating.
That's
Yeah.
a high rating.
4.05.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Tyler?
I'm excited. Can I do my tagline?
I think this is the part where you're supposed to do it, yeah.
Appreciate it. So to our favorite part here, and hopefully yours, let's open her up.
All right. So, of course, you got to use the proper glassware when you're drinking your beer. We are drinking out of an IPA glass today. And we have another different Imperial City branded glass that Jerry, again, is lucky enough to be drinking out of. So you'll see that on our Instagram.
Frothy head.
Just the way I like it.
Gonna let that settle for a minute.
Yeah, lots of head on that one.
So this gives us ample opportunity to review the beer before we start sipping the beer, due to the fact that
That is very correct.
there is a large head on it. So
Absolutely.
it is very frothy.
Oh, you can smell that lactose sugar coming out of that.
Yeah. And we know, Tyler, you like your frothy heads on your Milkshake IPAs, right?
I do enjoy it.
Yeah.
It's a nice little touch. It gives it a bit of a texture, right? Instead of just going in
No,
straight,
you're right. It definitely
straight
does.
into the actual beer, just as it is. Get a little bit of that frothy head in it.
And I'm still having a little bit of the taste of the cream ale. So
Yeah.
I'm almost thinking like this is just going to be a nice compliment to the beer we had previously.
I think it is. And that cream ale had a ton of vanilla. And
Yes.
they're talking about having vanilla in this beer as well. So
Right. And so I'm getting that coconut kind of flavor coming through.
A little bit of coconut.
Right on the smell, not
Yeah.
the actual
I was going to
taste.
say, you taste it? That would
Yeah,
be...
I did
Usually
not-
that's my job to break the rules,
I did
not you.
taste it, but the flavor profile of that coconut come through.
absolutely.
And
It
a little
certainly
bit-
smells very tropical with
Yeah.
that coconut. Yeah.
Right.
I feel like I want to have this on a beach instead of...
And I've heard that with the whole like pina colada kind of feel to it.
Yeah,
and, like,
looking at the reviews, I've seen that a lot for
and
sure
so I
on
get that.
Untapped.
I do hope that the mango comes through I do hope the mango comes through a little bit more. So we'll see how that works. So should we maybe drink? And now the owners did want us to take a video of this one as well to see what our reactions were. So let's go around the horn here, if you will, for baseball terms.
Okay. So we're starting with me, I guess.
Brett,
right?
you can start, and then I'll get into it, and then Chris, you can
follow up there. Yeah,
be the closer to this one.
Exactly.
All right,
I'm always a starter. Usually, though, in the first inning, I always give about 7 runs.
Yeah. Then we don't have to use a closer.
You get the night off.
I'll just hang out.
Yeah, just chill. All right, there's the sip and the reaction. Here it comes.
Oh, baby.
Oh, baby.
All right, next up.
This is some good shit. I didn't mean to swear here, but this is some good shit.
Yeah, pina colada.
Yeah.
I love you a lotta. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really sweet on the
Very sweet.
back end.
I'm very glad that we saved these 2 specific beers
Yeah.
to have it for the first time here. I think it would have lost a little bit of luster if we would have had one of these before.
We were in a bit of a tug of war a
agree.
little bit while we were there because it was like, you guys have to have these beers. You guys have to have And we knew we were going to be having from the podcast. So we said, we can't do it. We can't. We're going to just get it like our virgin kind
we
of.
like to have our genuine reactions to
Absolutely.
first time reactions to the beers, right?
Yeah.
So I think we definitely are getting that.
Yeah, and we're not going to kind of lead anybody astray, right? Like, that's it. What you're going to see is what you get. And
Or hear, in this case, not see.
Well, you're going to actually see it on Instagram, as we've mentioned. Yeah. So
that's true.
thanks. But that's good.
Type A personality coming right back in here.
Yeah. But that is nice.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely a ton of coconut, which
For me, not as strong on the coconut. Maybe that's just my taste
Yeah.
buds. I'm getting more mango, which I prefer, personally. Coconut's kind of there, but not so much there. The lactose sugar, though, is definitely what you can get here.
yeah,
100%.
there's no mistaking this for anything other than a milkshake IPA for sure.
Oh, God, no.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm kind of in between a little bit. The first sip, right, with that frothy head. I think the head kind of gives that huge coconut flavor to it.
That's true.
I would
And
say-
then
I
the
would
beer itself was a little bit more of the mango.
Yeah.
Not a whole lot. To be honest, I could have asked for a little bit more. Right?
Coconut?
No.
Oh, mango, yeah.
Mango.
more of these beers?
Yeah,
More of the beer, yeah.
you guys want to send us some more beers? I will not say no. But
No, I will not say no either.
But I do feel like the mango kind of flavor coming through would have been just a little bit more. But it is a nice beer.
And maybe that's kind of what I'm going back to what I said earlier, is the mango is coming through more as I get down, but at the top, at that frothy head,
Right.
coconut.
Right. So,
agree.
Brett, do you want to grab the can there, take a look
yes,
at it? If you could just read off the front for us, that'd be great.
Well, it says Imperial City Brewhouse Milkshake IPA. No, I'm kidding. I know the part they want me to read, so I'll do it. So this is kind of funny in terms of their labeling here. So they say, so either you're reading this label to pretend you know your beer, or you're a bona fide beer snob. Either way, Imperial City Brewhouse has a beer for you.
They do.
Yeah. So
Proudly crafted. You cut me out. No, kidding. Proudly crafted and rigorously sampled by 4 friends who we've talked about earlier.
Yeah.
Who let passion pave the way to bring you the very best selection of deliciousness. Enjoy.
Yes.
And I am enjoying this beer.
Absolutely. So we know, Brett, that you like to look at the can all the time. So
Yeah.
are you looking at it because you're pretending to know beer, or because you're a beer snob?
Ooh, that's a really good question. I would think, in my opinion, is I would be more of a beer snob because I like to do and try a little more of the higher end stuff, perhaps, versus just going to LCBOs and grabbing everything that's on the shelf.
For sure.
Maybe-
We're craft beer connoisseurs.
Exactly.
Maybe I would say instead of beer snobs,
Connoisseurs.
connoisseurs. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Take a look at that. Maybe a little tweak. A little shout out. See what you come up with.
Absolutely.
No, it's a good beer. And, we don't like to labor on the point of COVID. However, with that being said, if you had a vacation that was supposed to be booked and it got canceled due to COVID, I'm telling you right now, put on a little Jimmy Buffett, sit down, get a little mister out, and drink a couple of these, and you're going to be thinking that you're on the beach.
Yeah.
I'm thinking come into the actual brew house with a huge speaker over your top, over your shoulder.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, put your
Wearing some
bathing suit
community
on. Something
Yeah,
like
show
that.
up.
Yeah.
Maybe that's an idea that we could pitch to Imperial City as a beach night and
Oh,
just
there
be
you go.
serving these puppies up.
They have the
all
space,
night long.
I'd say.
They
to
do
put
have-
in a fake beach.
You could put a little fake beach
Yeah,
in there.
for sure.
Bring in a little
I think for
cover
that,
band for
I
the
think
Beach
for that
Boys.
evening, I would probably have to rent an Airbnb
Yeah.
because I'm going to get into a lot of the Goodbye Gravities and this one
For
as
sure.
well.
So they do trivia nights. They do some yoga stuff. They do live bands as well. So they have tried to soundproof a little bit to kind of muffle the
Yeah.
noise a bit. So that's good. I do think that maybe this is an idea. Do a little Hawaii kind of inspired theme night.
I like
think
that.
so.
Because this beer is definitely reminding me of sitting at the beach
Yeah.
and having a tropical drink, for sure.
Yeah.
I agree.
And I don't know if it's like with the whole pina colada thing, but like if I close my eyes and I just smell this beer, I just feel like there's a huge wedge of like pineapple too, just jammed on the
Yes.
side
Yes.
of this.
Yes.
I don't
Yeah.
know what it is, but I think-
Imagine if they had like the, like when you get like a Belgian moon and they serve you like the orange at a restaurant. If they had, that wasn't an actual brewery, that was just a beer.
No,
But
no. I was just gonna say. You remember when like Chris cut you off, and then I was in the middle of it, and then you just started like going off. But you finished your thought. It's cool. It's cool.
okay, I'll finish.
But
My fault.
yeah, no.
My
no,
apologies.
It it doesn't happen 4 or 5 times an episode.
at
But
least 5 or 6.
but I do think that that's kind of speaks to this beer too, right? Because we do talk about the flavors and what the beer looks like.
Yeah.
I also do think the smell and just what the holistic kind of beer is, and this one speaks to every different sense, right? So like you can smell it, you can taste it, you close your eyes, you get like an image of what this is.
And it's not heavy like you would get if you had a pina colada, right? Because pina coladas might sit a little heavy in your stomach or something like that. This is really.
I just
really
feel like
nice.
it's hitting all of the flavor profiles on Untappd. Like
What are
top
those?
5. So they would be coconut, smooth, vanilla, sweet, mango.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Hitting every single one.
Everything.
And I look at that, and so those are the top 5 in that order that are listed on Untappd. I kind of feel that, right? I do feel maybe mango should be a little bit higher.
I agree.
It's not there yet, but I do feel like I'd like to see a little bit more mango, as I talked about.
Yeah, I might put vanilla at the bottom,
Oh, yeah?
probably.
Yeah, because that coconut comes out a bit.
Yeah.
Yep.
And definitely sweet.
sure.
I'm getting a lot of sweetness from this, but in a good way. Like this is a
Oh, this is a
beer.
fantastic
beer.
beer.
So the small community on this beer, they had the following say. So this was through Untappd. So Chris, you have the first one for the Untappd.
Yeah, so Steve D, username is Stevie DZ. So on July 22nd, he said, should I sing this? Or
I think that you should.
okay.
Yeah.
Do you like pina coladas? Long walks in the rain.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I do. Keep
Very-
going. Keep
very-
going.
Well, that's all of the song part. So very coconut forward, he says. If you like coconut, you'll like this. He gave it a 4.75 out of 5.
Yeah.
Wow.
Good job. So my comment is from Bill S. His username is Master William.
Master.
Masta. On August 21st, commented, very impressed. First beer from Imperial. So good. Coconut heavy flavor with the pineapple and vanilla in the back deck. Great, creamy mouthfeel. Crushable. And gave it a 4.25 out of 5.
I want to make a comment about the creamy mouthfeel.
I was going to say, did you want me to sing that part? Or?
No, I just was thinking about Graham.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, from last episode.
Yeah.
So that is a 4.75 and a 4.25 from both the Untappd community.
Great ratings.
We know it's got a huge rating, as we mentioned before we actually opened her up. So I'm going to start us off, I think. So
Let's do it.
out of 5 bottle caps, I'm going to give this a 4.75.
Oh, he's
Yeah.
coming so close.
Yeah, it's there.
It's there for you.
It's there for me.
And you're not a person who does a lot of 5s unlike somebody else I know here.
Yeah.
Myself.
Yeah.
I give this one a 4.5.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yep.
I think it's good. I want it, more of it.
Yeah.
I would just want more
Do you
of it.
like pina coladas?
I like when Chris sings it.
Oh,
Damn.
Well, I'm gonna give the same rating as you, Brett. I'm gonna give a 4.5, and producer Jerry is also giving a 4.5. So we're just waiting for that math here from Jerry.
Yeah.
He's a little slow.
Tough calculator.
Yeah.
Oh, one second.
What are you doing?
He's a few beers deep, so
Yeah.
it's taking him a little bit.
Yeah, he's not driving home tonight.
Okay, so it's at this one. Here's what the one we're reading off of.
All right, so he's giving it an overall of 4.5625, which is going to round down to a 4.5.
Perfect.
All right, awesome. And that concludes our conversation on Imperial City Brewhouse and the reviews on the Goodbye Gravity and the Milkshake IPA.
So stay tuned as we talk a little bit about us and this podcast.
All right, so this is our 6th episode. Congratulations, guys.
Yeah,
We made it.
6
We
episodes.
did
We made
it.
it to 6 episodes.
Very
So
good.
when I did a slideshow, I'm sure you guys are going to talk about it when we get into it.
Oh, yes, we are.
But when I did that, I did a little bit of research. They say your 6th episode, if you make it to 6, you're probably good to go. So
I guess we're good to go.
Yeah, I guess we're good for a while then.
well, once we punch this out, we'll see what kind of feedback we get back. So
there may not be episode 7, is what you're saying.
well, stay tuned. Yeah. So what we want to do is give a little bit of history on who we are and kind of how this came to be, and then where this is kind of going. So just a little bit of background information. You know, we saw what Imperial City's doing, and we appreciate kind of their background and their history. So we
Yep.
figured, you know what? This might be the best episode to kind of talk about who we are and what
For
we
sure.
see. So, yeah, how do we know each other?
Well, that's a really good question. So Tyler is kind of the middle point here. He's the connection between me and Chris.
Yes.
So Tyler, you and Chris went to university together, and that's how you guys met?
Yep, University of Windsor.
Yeah.
Shout out.
Yeah, that's a great place to go.
I want to say something, but I'll be polite.
It's okay. Our producer, Jerry, went to Western, so he's all about Western pride forever.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, and then myself and Tyler met actually.
Definitely not in university.
No.
Hey-o.
Hey, I went to fan shop, okay?
Yeah, we all like fun shop.
Yeah, we all did. As we actually, you were my coach when we.
I was.
Yeah. Terrible. What? The first time I met Tyler, I thought he was a huge world.
That sounds
I was
about,
like, who is this guy?
That sounds about the reaction
Similar?
that everyone has when they meet Tyler.
Yeah.
That's about right.
The difference is, though, I think, so let me get this straight. So you guys think that of me, and I can respect that.
I like you now.
However, the first time I met Brett
Yeah.
he was upset at a call from an umpire and took a bunch of stones and threw them at our bench. So who's the that's Brett covered. Now let's go over to Chris. Okay, let's go over to Chris. So the first time I met Chris, I had a bunch of beer, and they both called me a. Okay, fine.
At
fine,
least
fine.
it's a beer related
Yeah,
story
yeah.
here. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it wasn't craft beer. It's probably like Bush.
Oh,
Hear me out. So I said this guy was a little bit struggling. I said, "Hey,
struggling.
Chris, do you want a Coors Light?" He said, "No, I don't drink water." So you know what? You
comment.
guys think I. But the first time I met both of you guys, I have this guy who's going ahead and tossing stones at me,
Yeah.
and this guy who's tossing shade at me.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
My bad. I didn't
Yeah.
get you in the eye, though, did I?
No, it wasn't
You were
me.
still.
Thanks, appreciate
I
it.
remember being upset because I think that was a couple weeks before eliminations.
Yeah,
So for those who don't know,
I don't think
myself
we,
and
I don't think we took you, did we?
no, myself and Tyler both play competitive fast pitch softball, and so Tyler, who was a couple years older,
Yep.
was just coaching the team that I was the age range.
The age
So
group, yep.
Anyway, so I remember being upset because I was one of the better players on my team. So there's other players from my team that went, and I was not one of them.
So he was picking players for the team.
Yeah, I don't know if it was a completely him decision.
We chose the good players.
Yeah, how'd that work out for you?
We chose the good players.
I don't think it worked out well.
So that's how we've all kind of met each other, and we decided, hey, let's do a podcast. So why did we decide a podcast? So I think first and foremost, I was driving back and forth from work a lot, listening to a bunch of podcasts, and then I kind of put it out to the group of friends and said, hey, guys, we could do this. With everything kind of happening, we said, you know what, we drink beer now. We are, as we discussed earlier on, either craft beer snobs or connoisseurs. We enjoy.
A little bit
We'll
of option
say
A, a little bit of option
connoisseurs.
B.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit of this, a little bit of that.
I think to be a connoisseur, you have to be a bit of a snob.
Bit of a snob.
Yes.
So
That's true.
So I think with that being said, we said, you know what, we get together, we drink beer. Let's just record ourselves, get a little bit of equipment, spend some money, put a little bit of money into this, and create a podcast. So I put the idea.
I was going to say, I really appreciate the slideshow.
Yes.
that you went through and did. I don't know how much time it took for you to do it. Probably a couple days, maybe.
No, not long.
Okay. Anyway,
University of Windsor. They taught me how to do a
You learn how to do
slideshow.
slideshows like that.
so in reality, this is what happened. Tyler's like, "Hey, you guys want to do a house?" I can't remember if he used House Party or Google Hangouts, and I can't remember. Doesn't matter.
Google Hangouts.
Google Hangouts.
Yep.
That's what it was. And so he's like, "Oh, I got a PowerPoint in terms of everything it's going to do to make this podcast." And we're like, "Okay, we're listening," and we're just all like, "Yeah, okay, well, you know." And then at the end, we're like, actually, this could work.
Yeah, Tyler, we mentioned type A personality, right? So put that presentation together.
Shout out to Mike.
Crush those numbers. Yeah. Put it together with all the finances and everything and the idea. And I think we all know it's really a growing medium. We get a lot of stories, news, etc. from podcasts. People are listening to them a lot more. So I think it's a great idea.
And the one thing that we kind of did was we took our time with this.
Right.
We didn't just say, "Hey, we're doing a podcast and next week, bam, episode."
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like we actually put a plan in. So we took maybe 2-3 months to actually nail down how we're going to, our format, how we're going to do everything.
So if we sorry to cut you off. So
it happens.
Yeah, no. So kind of going back, like the idea originated probably about a year and a bit ago. And so that was just like, hey, here's the concept. This is kind of what we're thinking. And then like we really got into it seriously probably about 8 to 9 months ago.
I was going to say pretty much once COVID hit.
Yeah.
I would say.
Yeah, a little bit before.
Even a little bit before that, yeah.
Yeah, April-ish maybe.
Yeah, March,
yeah.
April-ish.
And then it was like, okay, well, you know what? We get together, we already drink beer, we have friends that we just want to kind of cater to, get some of our information out, because a lot of our friends aren't craft beer drinkers.
Right.
Shout out to them. You know what? Hopefully we can inspire you to drink a little bit of craft beer.
Absolutely. And hope to see you guys soon, safely, of course, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So hopefully, we can get them into the craft beer kind of community with it. But once we had this kind of idea, it was sitting back and thinking about, all right, logistically, how long is it going to take to get equipment? Did we want to cheap out with our equipment? We didn't. We said, if we're going to do it, let's do it right. Let's put a little bit of money into this, get some good mics, some good sound system.
Instead of using like USB ports for mics and things like just using a laptop, etc.
Yeah,
right.
And that's another similarity between us and Imperial City, because they use quality ingredients.
Yeah.
We use quality equipment.
Oh, great tie-in.
That's beautiful. You like to see that. But that was kind of where this whole idea kind of came from. And so we've been planning it for about a year, and then we got a little bit more serious, and then we sat down and said, well, what's our game plan? And so our game plan was, what like our purpose here is to advocate for some of the small breweries as well as promote some of the bigger ones. So we knew that there was a craft beer community out there, and this is the time for us to kind of promote them. Yeah. So we're enjoying the beers and we have a good time with it, and we get some great feedback from a lot of the brewers and the breweries. But that was kind of the idea here, is what can we do to enjoy ourselves as well as help out, support local, right? They might not be local to us, but they're going to be local to somebody. So that was the whole idea here.
Yeah, and we've got a great response from the breweries that we've reached out to in Ontario. Honestly, we're a little bit surprised with the response that we've gotten, but we're extremely grateful for all the breweries that want to help us, because, like you said, we're trying to help them, and they're trying to help us.
It's a good reciprocating kind of.
You can almost call it a collaboration.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, we talked about that, but that's how it is, right? And like we reach out to the craft community and say, hey, listen to the podcast, right?
Yeah.
Promote our stuff. We're going to promote your stuff, and we try to make that work, right? So,
and we've tried. This is a great episode as an example. We've tried a ton of beers that we may not have been able to try otherwise,
right,
and they've been great.
And I know like Imperial City is bringing their stuff to the LCBOs and beer stores soon.
Yes.
But if it wasn't for this, we would never went there, I would think. It might have happened, but chances are pretty slim, right?
Yeah, and that's the thing, is there's so many different breweries out there we want to touch base on. So for ourselves, kind of where we're at right now, we're very comfortable with what we're doing. We like the feedback that we're getting too, so keep that coming in. We're always willing to change some stuff. As for craft beer connoisseurs, what's that look like in the future? Do you guys have any comments you want to add on that?
Well, I think we may be not necessarily switching our format from bi-weekly to weekly, but we may give a little bit of extra content on a weekly basis.
For sure.
You may see that coming up, possibly.
Absolutely. And maybe more might go out to actually different breweries and actually interview the brewers behind the beers themselves.
Right.
Yes.
Right? In terms of what kind of got them into craft beer, what do they like to brew, etc.
Right. So a little bit of a teaser kind of from us. We've teased a little bit for different breweries and kind of what they're coming out with. We are going to be sitting down sometime here in December and having a state of the podcast. So we take this seriously.
They're a very formal meeting. Yeah.
We
Type A personality coming in handy again.
For sure. We really care about this, and we want this project to make sense to different individuals, whether it's consumers or if it's breweries. So we want to make sure that we can tie it all together. So at the state of the podcast, we're going to be discussing different things, whether it's the different content we can have out and different kind of directions we can go.
Yep.
We know this is just season 1. We plan on having 24 episodes for season 1. And as we get closer to the end of the season, we'll be pumping out just a little bit of a different kind of thing that we're going to be trying out with our beers and what our favorite is and kind of what the season has kind of given us, right?
There's big things on the horizon.
And maybe towards the end of the season, the producer's voice might finally be heard.
Maybe.
Oh, big teaser.
Oh.
Don't know. Don't hold your breath, though.
I wouldn't either.
So we'll see how that goes. But that's kind of where we're at. That's how we kind of came to be. So we appreciate everybody following us along this journey, on this adventure. It's been fun, and we hope that we can keep putting out good content for everybody. So we're going to be coming back with our farewell message. So stay tuned. And that's all the time we have today for this royal episode.
Thanks again for listening. Keep on listening every other Thursday as Craft Beer Connoisseurs releases a new episode.
Make sure to tell your friends, family, and your bartender.
And so from all of us and producer Jerry, I'm Tyler.
I'm Brett.
And I'm Chris.
And together, we're the Craft Beer Connoisseurs.